Good morning. It's almost afternoon. It's 11:50, July 15th, 2026, and what you're looking at here is not one of the Dune movies. What you're looking at is the East View live camera from the city of Toronto, from the CN Tower, and you can see Billy Bishop Airport here, and it's just we're being deluged by wildfire smoke as you've probably seen on the news and everywhere at this point, but I did want to cover it anyway briefly. You can see Toronto here is among the worst polluted global cities in terms of the major ranking right now. In fact, they're number one currently, based on this wildfire smoke that's being ejected further south. What I also wanted to cover briefly, because I have a blog post on it, but I figure it's easier to just cover it while I'm here right now. We have a 10-point scale here in Canada. Well, it exceeds it a little bit, but as you can see, Toronto right now exceeds the scale. We are in the 10 plus sector. Anything above 7, though, gives you some level of health risk, especially those that are more prone to, like with allergies or asthma or anything related to it. Being outside above a 7 is going to be rough for you. But 10 plus is unhealthy for anyone, even if you're fully healthy. So that's kind of a big issue. And you can see on the scale here, the entire day is expected to be above the risk. Thursday and Thursday night is expected to be a 9 or an 8 on the scale, still high, but we'll have to see if it actually goes back up to 10 because you still have the smoke that can be mixed down, and this is just farther out on the scale. And smoke's notoriously hard to predict, especially reaching the surface. Uh, what you're looking at directly is these are the originating area of the smoke. It's in northwest Ontario. There's some in Manitoba as well. This major cluster of fires was started from storms several days ago that sparked lightning in the area and kicked these storms off. And they're in very remote areas, so there's not much you can do to actually address them, if anything at all. So they're going to continue for the time being because, and here they are. Here they are on the live satellite. You can see how much smoke is being pulled into the flow. And that flow, of course, goes downrange into more populated areas. This is Toronto. It's hitting me in the Hamilton area now. It's going into Buffalo and then continuing further east from there. Yesterday it was over in Montreal and it actually snuffed out the severe weather risk for Montreal and Quebec City. And good for them, but it's a trade-off. So now we're in it as the flow is shifted a little bit further south. There's the closer view of it. You can again see it ongoing. Where's my one? There it is. This is the major ridge in place here, and this has been ongoing for several days and looks to continue. And you can see the flow go right around the ridge, right around that centered ridge. Here's the smoke from the wildfires. It's being pulled directly into the mid and upper level flow, and then it gets ejected downrange. And you can see it's reaching the east coast. It's well into the Atlantic, actually, but it's reaching the east coast of the United States as well. Areas further south of here aren't directly in it, but you can still see there's some haze. So Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, they're somewhat in it. But the worst areas, of course, right in here, where you've got this really thick gradient, this really thick smoke. Further down here is still having some effects, but it's within this range. Barrie, the GTA, Hamilton, Niagara, Kingston, they're all right in the absolute peak of this very unhealthy smoke. And the bad news, though, is it doesn't really look to change very much. You still have this prominent ridge here. You're still going to have this northwest flow that's going to take this wildfire smoke and eject it downrange at least through Friday, it looks like. I was going to mention there is a little subtle shortwave trough here that might bring a severe risk for southern Ontario into Saturday afternoon and evening. But if this smoke is still around, I think all bets are off, or at least you'd have to do more of a nowcast a day of instead, because as we just saw with a higher risk being destroyed in Montreal, I think the same principles would follow if this continues here. And when you look at least vertically integrated smoke, there is a near surface smoke product, but anecdotally I've seen it totally miss sometimes, so I'm less trustworthy with it. Vertically integrated smoke is quite good at least telling you there will be smoke aloft. Whether it reaches the surface or not is whether it gets mixed down, but that's a little more complicated. And that's why I think the model sometimes doesn't always get it right. But you can see at least through Friday morning, at least this model is showing there's some level of vertically integrated smoke all throughout the GTA with several different higher end bursts that come forward. In terms of rainfall to help mitigate those fires, there is some in those zones of forecast or those zones of interest, but it's kind of there's not a lot of model consensus on it, and it might be stronger storms of interest too. So they might kick off more lightning, which might kick off more fires, which is obviously not what we wanted to have happen. So you would hope it would be more synoptic style rain, more broad coverage, more uh, prolonged, so it'll snuff the fires. But I don't really see that at the moment. We'll see if this loads. My internet's a little slow today. Uh, but at least on one convection allowing model, it didn't show it. We'll see if this one shows anything different, which it doesn't really, at least at this point. Doesn't This one here completely misses the more prominent fires to the north, which is not what you want. So that would be the summary. I guess the bad news is it looks like we're going to be in the deluge of wildfire smoke in the GTA and Southern Ontario for at least a day or two more. And from there, we'll have to assess further. And I feel for anyone who has to work outside. I worked trades for a long time alongside my father and my brother, and we were out in the smoke regularly. It sucked. It was awful, among being in the terrible conditions anyway. So I feel for anyone who's outside, and if you can, especially if you have health issues, try to avoid being outside as best as possible the next couple of days. Have a good day.